So today with our handsome Mr. Leon, ready, sir? I wanted to dive into a couple little topics. Some of them will be, for example, working some enrichment. So there will be times where when your puppy starts to hit adolescence, and of course you can do this when they're much younger too, but there's going to be moments where you may not be as capable for the day to work everything you need to do. And this is where adding some enrichment in general is great for your pups to keep them entertained, but also helps to decompress the babes. It can also be a great way to add, for example, an activity to do that doesn't involve necessarily always going outdoors. I am not saying to disregard giving your dog an outlet or exercise or something that is, again, dog-centric for them. But including sniffing and exploration and finding of food or foraging is one of their needs that they do really enjoy. So right now as I'm blabbing, I'm just doing a couple little find its with Mr. Leon. Nice check in. So snuffle mats or puzzle toys, slow feed bowls. There's also different types of lick items or lick mats. Obviously having two dogs, I know he's the newer of the two, is I would still recommend for some down alone time. So I know we have this concept at times of having dogs just always be together, and at times that can work just fine. But I also feel that bringing in a younger puppy with another dog that's kind of still an adolescent, they sometimes feed off each other and not in the right way. So what I mean by that is just like little human kids as well can sometimes pick on each other or get a little too rowdy, or one might be overtired and not know what to do. So it can be very nice to, as we mentioned earlier, puppies from his age group need between, again, close to 18 hours of sleep in a 24-hour period. Most adult dogs, again, they prefer like around the 16 mark range, so it's not too different. When they're much younger, like 5 months and below, they tend to do more like 20 hours of sleep in a 24-hour period. So if we're finding that Mr. L and Miss M at home are not getting into good routines, it could be that we might be by mistake allowing for too much rowdy or over exuberant or at times really overtired puppies to mingle, and then they don't really get enough rest. So when you're trying to work with other behaviors, it doesn't go as nicely. So remember, if you're feeling tired and you're feeling sort of overwhelmed, you're not going to be as functional as usual. So again, we might rock a little down. Yes, he's gotten very nice with these, very pretty. Good job. He's like, and we get back up so we can rock it again. We might do a little stand. Yes, nice job. We'll try a little bit with these puppy push-ups. Yes, for just a few moments. But snuffle mats can be another great venue to, while one puppy is in one zone and the other is in another, is to give them outlets that don't involve always each other. There's also the problem where when you have two pups is sometimes they become, a two-headed dog. And what I mean by that is like they have one body and two heads. So it's very hard to separate them. When you go to move one to go to the vet and the other one stays home, they start to get really overwhelmed. So we don't want to create a dependency on each other. So it's nice to have relationships, and I think that's really nice for the dogs. But if, let's say, you were to separate one because you have to bring them to the groomer, or one of them is coming here and one of them is staying home, it can be very nice to practice still independent alone time, that they can still feel safe being their own selves while their sibling at home does something else. You can also break down your training time. So you might have a few minutes where Miss M is enjoying a frozen Kong in one little section, and then you work with Mr. L for a few moments with a couple little tricks, and then you swap the two. I would also recommend walks should maybe at times be independent. If you're finding that he is very disjointed and pulling and gets a little too distracted or overwhelmed, remember that for a successful walk, you have to go at the rate of the puppy. And if Miss M is more comfortable or vice versa, they may not be able to be going at the same pace, if that makes sense. So it's almost like having one little human. Oh, you didn't see that one? Ready? Find it. It's like having, for example, my 5-year-old and my 9-year-old, they're not at the same level for everything. So at times trying to get them to do the same thing is hard. So just like with kids with schoolwork, I can't expect my 5-year-old to be at the level my 9-year-old is at, and vice versa for their comfort ranges. So Good job, sir. So when it comes to Mr. L, we want to make sure that what he's participating in are things that we want him to get really good at. And if at times maybe his sister gets really excited or a little nervous seeing other new things, he's going to then pick up on that, and then he himself may join that party. So we want to make sure that puppies, again, they don't grow out of behavior, they grow into it. So if we are not in love with where it's going, we want to prevent it and be proactive. So I just wanted to grab just some Snuffle mats just to sort of show you some options. So I'll just grab these bad boys. So there's all different varieties that are available now online on, let's say, for example, chewy.com, or even, for example, on Amazon, or some pet stores will carry products too. So I know you guys had taken like the reactive dog class with one of your previous babes. But again, this is where Snuffle mats are great for every dog, but especially if, let's say, our dogs have big emotions or get overly excitable, having them take little Zen moments, as I call them, to get reconnected with their body and their brain can be very nice. So I'm going to send him away with a little Find It, and then I'm just going to hide a few little snacks inside the Snuffle mat. He's like, "Lady, I'm so ready." So the benefit of foraging is it helps lower your puppy's heart rate. It gives them something to do other than behavior maybe you didn't want them to do. So if your baby is busy foraging or sniffing the floor and finding morsels, they can't be scanning the horizon or getting excited about seeing something or someone off in the distance. Two, if you're looking for a very nice, inexpensive option for Snuffle mats, I'm sorry about bending over and like pretty much probably yelling into the mic, is that these, of course, were just bath mats. This one was just a spare one that one of my students, she got one, but then they sent her two. So she's like, "You can have one." I was like, "Thank you." So with the Snuffle mats, the nice thing about it is your puppy then has to work it and try to find the morsels. So foraging, digging, chasing, barking, there's all these things that are very dog-centric to what they are. So if we don't want them foraging for, let's say, for example, bunny poop for fun, we can sometimes create a foraging experience with things that are more up their alley that might be healthier to go ahead and gobble up. So, but this is a great way, like if it's going to be a rainy, cruddy day, and maybe you've done a few fun tricks in the house, but you don't really have the ability or the option to go and do your exercise outdoors or whatever it might be, Snuffle mats and downtime is something that I find just as important as sometimes being up and in motion. So like I mentioned earlier, this doesn't mean we're going to get rid of exercise or experiences or outings for our dogs. But what it means is if your dog always needs something that involves a lot of energy burning to finally get them to simmer down, you may be by accident creating that athlete that is always looking for the next thing, sort of like an adrenaline kind of junkie. So it is important to have downtime and rest periods, because for a lot of dogs, they can very easily go and create an on, but they may very likely not have an off. So my guys have rest days. They have plenty of times where it's just like leisure. And then we have other fun adventures that we go and do things that are more high energy. But if my dogs, for example, were 24/7 looking for like the next thing all day long, it's very hard to keep up with that kind of dog. Some people do enjoy a very active dog because they themselves are mentally active, and that's wonderful. But I feel for a lot of folks, you might have families and other responsibilities too. And this doesn't mean that we want to forget about what the dog needs as well. Since we did bring them into our homes, we want to make sure that we are setting them up for success and giving them outlets to help them feel fulfillment. But we may find working a bit through some softer skills and some more energy building skills to have a nice medium sort of in both worlds. So you kind of want to have that yin and yang, give and take. So right here you can see that Mr. L is finding this to be very appealing. If you have some puppies that, for example, grab a Snuffle mat and try to eat it, this is where harder plastic or rubber-based items might be better for some of them. I've had some students' dogs where they pick it up, they shake it, they get all the food out of it, and then there's the game. There could be some that get a little confused and start to want to eat the Snuffle mat. So I would still do this all supervised, because for safety reasons, some babes, as they're going from puppy to adolescent or adolescent to adult, their chew habits can change. So that means that for some pups, they may have started softer chewers, and then maybe as they get older, they become a little rougher with their chewing. So I always keep an eye to what do your dog's toys and things look like. I still do it now. I'm always investigating to see, well, how much is coming off of this toy versus that toy. Because if you find that now something is missing or there's a big chunk that is no longer attached, it is not a fun thing to go do exploratory surgery, and it's very costly and it can be life-threatening. Good job, sir. So definitely make sure that you're keeping supervised moments for different types of chews or products for your puppies. Nice job, sir. What a smart man. So we'll do another little find it. So we'll just leave the snuffle mats out, and then we'll rotate through a few more skills. So I want to see if we can work a little bit with some of our loose leash walking once again. He was doing really nice with those puppy push-ups. He was doing really beautifully with the snuffle mat. So with your loose leash walking, in the very beginning, again, I don't really care which side the puppy's on, as long as they're starting to move into my space and engage with me from the environment. So if he is deciding to be on the left or the right, it doesn't really bother me. As you start to work this like on a leash, where it could matter if he's on the left or the right because of the roadway, or the leash could trip you up, I would recommend to start honing in on one side for a little while and then build that way. Yes. He's like, maybe she'll throw more snacks in the snuffle mat. Maybe I will. One of them rolled out. Nice. So snuffle mats can also be great if there's something going on in the home off in the back burner and you're trying to give your puppy an outlet other than that thing. So I always find it's better to think of being proactive versus reactive to your dog's behavior. If you're finding that you're just reacting to a response from them seeing something in the environment or getting flustered because of whatever stimulus, you may be, by accident, helping the pup get really good at that response. So I know we've discussed, like, if, for example, your baby is able to practice something, they're getting really good at it. So if we don't love what they're doing, we want to refrain from them practicing and getting really good rehearsal time to master that skill. Nice. So right here, he's doing a beautiful job with the sniffing. 2, you can also include some nose work. So there's different varieties of nose work. There is like legit canine nose work, which is very structured. You're learning how to specifically search for an odor for down the road, which could be like birch, clove, or anise. You can actually go and compete in that as well, which is really fun. But if, for example, you're just doing fun, easy peasy searching, so like not like big boy searching, is you can also take kibble or training treats and hide them throughout the house and ask them to go search. You could, for example, hide some goodies in Tupperware containers where there's some holes at the top, and then hide them outside and then have your puppy go search for those items. Whenever you can include nose work to your babe's routine, they're going to have a lot more mental and physical natural outlet to that game. So because dogs are pretty much a nose with legs, doing searching is a really, really reinforcing and rewarding, but it's also exhausting. So if it's a cruddy rainy day, you could do a little bit of some fun searching in the home. Your babe will probably have a very nice outlet with getting tired searching while inside the house. Nice. So we might go back into a little bit more with our loose leash walking. Nice with the positive interrupter. Good job. He's like, we just got to make sure they're really empty. Yes. So right here, as he decides to come back to me, I'm feeding for those moments. I want him to think there's a lot of really great value in coming from the environment back to me. Yes, nice job, sir. So maybe what we'll do a few find it's, and then we'll do a bit with some name and recall practice. Ready? So we'll do a little find it. Leon, come. Yes. So 2, as he comes into my space, I may even jackpot him again, which is one snack after another to build up a lot of great value in coming towards me versus the environment. So I might let him get, oh, he's on to me. I was going to see if I could wander away while he was busy. Good check-in. So if he's doing a real nice job, we're going to send him away again with another little find it. Ready? Leon, come. Yes. At times, the building does make some funky noises when the heat has kind of gone on and off. Like, I feel like the metal roof flexes a bit. Leon, come. Yes, good boy. But too, like my neighbors every once in a while making some funny noises. There's machinery in this building. So sometimes it's a bit weird sounds for the puppers, but it's okay. They're getting quite good at it. Leon, come. Yes, what a good boy. Nice job. So, but remember, if you didn't think your puppy was going to be successful in the skill that you were going to ask for, I would be cautionary about asking for skills over and over if the environment or the situation, oh, sorry, drop that one. If the environment is too stimulating or the situation is too difficult and your puppy you don't think would actually respond, I wouldn't bother asking. And it's not because you don't want your puppy to get good at learning something, but almost like with us, if we barely understood a concept and now we're being asked to do it like while on an amusement park ride, you're probably not going to have the greatest ability to come up with the information. Good job, sir. So we definitely want to make sure, have we worked the skills in a calm, soft environment first to help him understand the process? And then from there, have we actually proofed and generalized the skills? So a lot of times people are like, oh, my dog's just not listening. He's being stubborn. He's being dominant. All these sometimes very not useful words, because for them, they are not, again, able to proactively do something to spite you. Their frontal lobes do not connect the way ours do, where they can preemptively say, you know what, mom was being mean to me, I'm gonna go do this to her. Dogs just respond to the environment and they will do whatever brings them comfort and out, a feeling of safety. Yes, smart boy. Good job. Ready, we'll do another little find it. Leon, come. Such a smart boy. He's doing stellar. Oh, those sits are his favorites. So I can tell sits have been really nicely worked with, which is gorgeous. So if let's say he's doing a really nice job, we'll send him away again for another little find it. Ready? Leon, come. What a smart boy. Two, if you have a fenced in yard and he's not doing great with recalls, I would recommend to keep him on like a longer training lead. That way, if let's say he were to get distracted by the environment, or he did notice like some birds or a bunny off in the distance, and maybe now he's going to take off and run around the yard and it's going to be very hard to wrangle him, I would almost recommend to have him drag a longer training lead, like maybe a 15-footer. And it's not that you're going to go and yank on him and pull him in like a fish, but if let's say he was struggling, you could nonchalantly walk over, step on the leash for a second, and then help him regain some check-ins, and then go from there. Ready? Find it. He's like, where'd they go? They're on the blanket. He's like, there we go. He's going to use that little nose of his. So when practicing at home, adding some decompression, relaxation, vegging, with sniffing, licking, and foraging would be amazing for both of them. Using that nose to go forage and find out stinky smells in the sense of his food or even hidden toys can be another way to add some more enrichment to their daily lives without having to do much, if that makes sense on our end. For example, if we're feeling like it's a slower day or too many things are happening. But maybe what we'll do is we'll give Mr. L a little break from this exercise and we'll work a few other little skills with him in just a second. But very nice job for Mr. L today for his first little rodeo again.